all of that sorted. Almost there, I think. Almost there. Double. Alright, let's wipe you through to there. Perfecto. And now, I need to get a bunch of appropriate paints and our picture. Ba-da-bim-bum-bum. Do-do-do-do-do-do. New Orleans, baby. Here's our shot. Fun, fun. And let's turn it into some magic. I'm excited. Hey, how we doing? Gerald, the name of my great-grandfather. Now, what's our balance like here? Lippy, actually. This is a new stand. It's not quite as stable as our usual one, but we'll see if we can make it work. We'll see if we can make it work. Right. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, paint time. Bear with me while I just clear out the plates in here. Whoop, excuse me, we'll need this bag. Sunscreen first and foremost. Ha. Hey John, how you doing? Good to have you here. Good to have you all here. Hello from Thailand. So it's hot day today, so we're going to need a bunch of sunscreen. And if you're from America, we are painting New Orleans. New Orleans. Hey Lucy. Actually, they're from an op shop, Lucy. Pretty excited about them, to be fair. They're women's sunglasses. But at the end of the day, I think they're about as cool as they can get. So they're less specs and they cost me $10. I went past them 2 or 3 times while I was in the op shop on 2 different days. And I decided, you know what? I really, really like them. They will be mine. So, normally I don't spend that much at an op shop, but since it's going to charity, I'm more than happy to. I spend a lot of money there too. Buy all sorts of stuff. This shirt, actually, these pants, not these shoes. It's got a little op shop. It's got everything that you'd want. Give me just a second. That'll make a big difference. Beautiful day in Auckland. Yes, it is indeed. Cheers, Lucy. I'm glad you're digging. I was a little bit nervous when I first put them on, but they're actually a really cool fit, and they turn the whole world. This is my favourite part. They turn the whole world into a slight tint of rosé. So it kind of has those Waiheke, which is an island in New Zealand famous for making wine, including rosé. Kind of has Waiheke vibes to it, which I like. I like that. Now, let's grab the last and arguably most important bag. Voila. Here we go. Let's get this bag out here. And this one here's got the black in it. Gloss black. And this is how we're going to define the underlying layer. Yes, this place has ducks in it, and I don't have crackers today, but they're very expecting ducks. And when I don't bring along crackers, they do get a wee bit sassy with me. So we'll be navigating that. There we go, matte medium. So we start off with matte, move into gloss. Since we're outside, we're not using our tempera, we're using acrylics. Which is kind of fun. Kicking off with just a big old coat of black. That's the plan. Da-da-ding-dun-dun. And then I need a fairly sizable brush. Here we go. That's a pretty big one. We'll use that. No egg tempera. Not outside, John. For outside, I've still got a lot of acrylic and oil paints. And so I'll gradually phase them out for the outside. I haven't tried egg tempera outside yet. I'm not sure how it will dry or run and all these sorts of things. But I'm thinking, if I start by attacking it, oh, thanks for the heads up. A couple of sandflies sticking to the work. We'll get some insect repellent on straight away. Here we go. Here we go. Victoria. It's the most ancient technique. It's what Mona Lisa, it's what Last Supper, a lot of famous artists used to use it well back in the day. And I'm using it now in the studio because it's completely chemical free. So it's an absolute lifesaver for working indoors. I wouldn't use things, they say use it in a ventilated space, you know, for acrylic paints and oil paints. Well, when you say use it in a ventilated space, you're basically talking and saying that there's something in it which you don't want to be breathing in. And a ventilated space, like with an air purifier, it's not a matter of thinking that, oh, okay, the air's going to be safe now because the air purifier is dealing with it. The air purifier can only tell you how bad things have got and how fast it's fixing it. They can't actually stop the environment from becoming bad. The air has to be impure for the purifier to purify it. So, there we go. Here we go. I'll do a basic start though, guys. Starting with blacks. And I'm probably, do you think I'm a wee bit tall there? It might be all right. Corner, corner, corner. No, we're perfect. We're perfect, we're perfect. If I miss any comments too, guys, bear with me. It's very, very sunny coming down at the moment. Hey, Joy. And I'm not in the States. If you listen very carefully, you'll hear the bird calls of New Zealand birds. I think New Zealand birds are quite distinctive. Probably because I'm just from New Zealand, so I'm able to spot them fairly well. Kiddadoos, tuis. It's part of the world full of bird noises. Here we go. A lot of darkness in the top of the image. So just going to put down a giant base coat to start with. Big old base coat. Then once that's all down, we can start getting more tactical about what we want to do next. Yes, it does say New Orleans. Sorry. It says it's a painting of New Orleans. How just saying New Orleans makes that fairly tough to understand. That's on me. That's definitely on me. But no, we're not in New Orleans. We're painting New Orleans. But I can see how that's going to confuse a lot of people over the next hour or two. Hello! People yelling hello from cars. Very sweet of them. Here we go. Perfect can't sleep content. Well, you're more than welcome to be here. Who's that? Becky. Becky, hang out with us. Don't sleep. Just see if a painting comes together in front of you. And if it doesn't, I'm sorry. I did my best. Now, the subject matter, though, it does have a slight genre element to it. So, with a genre picture, it's less about the form of each individual piece and more about the overall look and feel of the image. Genre pieces are usually perfect for living rooms because since there's not a giant face staring at you, you can actually sit beside it and it's not too much for the room. So I kind of enjoy genre pieces because typically they get used as statement pieces. Landscapes, yeah, but I find that landscapes have slightly less attitude than a good genre piece. I like a bit of attitude in my painting. Like, and when I say landscape too, I mean a very, very zoomed out landscape. Beautiful, beautiful and subtle, but a genre piece is sort of anything that depicts a scene. So the garden picture we were recently doing right here, that was a genre piece. This one here, same sort of zoom. We've got some crowds out the front, we've got a train coming across, and we've got some big trees in the background. That's genre. And it's another one. What other one would I point to? Just those two for now. What are the most recent ones? We're just gonna, I say, slash the paint on. This isn't about getting too nitty gritty with where we put it. We just want to be quite loose. A lot of this won't make it to anything other than being an undertone, and arguably, arguably, I've been a bit too precious with the paint so far. A wee bit precious, because I'm trying to get that form. You can sort of see a train maybe coming into perspective, but again, like I say, it's not required. It's very early days. Where did I put that matte medium? There we go. Chad, what do you call a guy who's been attacked by lions? Claude? Claude, eh? I'm not following. I'm sure it's funny though. You've got a track record of being funny, but I missed that one. Let's get a bit of blue. We're going to use cerulean blue hue. Here we go. Lovely. Soft acrylic. Soft acrylic. So we've gone for heavy-bodied acrylic blacks into soft-bodied blues. Should you do that? Doesn't matter. Does not matter. There'll be someone out there who talks about it in terms of saying, hey, your binder to solvent to paint ratio will be off. Yeah, maybe, but it's always kind of off, especially when you're adding different bodies into it, different mixes. Usually I'm adding in different primers, sometimes more primers than the paint needs to make it more transparent. Acrylic extenders, blah, 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 blah. So we're not worried about mixing soft-bodied with heavy-bodied. Arguably soft-bodied can add a lot to a painting because their pigments are stronger. It's like a gouache version of acrylics. So big fan of soft-bodied. I feel like it's a joke for Americans to say, it's said different, Claude, eh? How do Americans say it? Everyone's like, Seb, get the joke. The joke's funny in the in crowd. We need you to get it. Here we go. A little bit through here. Outside. Whew. I think actually we're going to paint like this for another, give me maybe, see how the heat goes, but if it gets too hot, I did bring a change of clothes. So we might have like an awkward intermission where I'm like, hey guys, hang out for a little bit. And I dash off back to the car, get changed, and proceed to come back and paint. It's actually a 3 things I got from op shops. So the outfit in the car and the outfit I'm wearing. Entirely op shop. I reckon that's pretty fun. Seb paints with style. Seb paints and makes a mess, I think more like. And he's proud of it. He's weirdly proud of these crazy messes he makes. It's going good. But I can see a lot of the time when I stop and look at it, I almost behave like a tutor to myself and try and give myself feedback that I'd give myself if I was my own teacher. I hope I said that in a way that wasn't too confusing. Basically, at the moment, I'm getting too hung up on making sure the paint looks wet on the early layers. It's allowed to be dry to get into the zones where it wants to go to. All I need to do is get just a bit more slashy with it and a bit more dry brushy, and allow it to just spread out a little bit more. See that? Don't need to get hung up in one little spot and demand it has perfect detail. It's only going to hold back the overall work, especially if you start adding detail carefully in a space that turns out to be the wrong space. Then you've got a little place where you put effort. Kind of like if you've got a business or a company or a quest or a thing you're on and for some reason it's not quite coming together, but you feel like you've put a lot of investment into it, which is now actually at a company worth zero, investment worth zero. But you keep slogging away at it and sometimes investing more because you want it to come together. That's kind of similar with a painting. You invest in early layers and then you don't want to cover them up later in the piece. So you're like, no, I put effort into that. And all they're then doing after that is holding you back from discovering where you want a painting to go. Naughty, naughty. Is it scenery? This here? It is scenery. It is. Lots of it. And it's going to slowly come together. There's lots of abstract elements to it. So expect this picture not to take a whole lot of context for probably, like, expect there to be a lot of pieces of this picture which make very little sense to you for the majority of the first few layers. Absolutely. Now you'll start to see these longer lines with sort of humanistic forms to them, very lightly around the front here. And then all this, aside from that, is a giant train moving this way. That'll pop a lot more once we start adding in the reds. And then up top here, we have a big winding tree. So the whole thing has, well, the whole picture has energy and forms in it. But the tree, arguably one of the most fun pieces, because since it falls back into the shadows so beautifully, what does that mean for us? It means that we can really indulge this train without making the whole picture too over the top. We can recognize the tree and then put outrageous color into our train. So I'm pretty excited about that. And again, these are acrylics, but we are outside because I think your health is pretty important as an artist. I've painted a lot inside with oil paints and also acrylics. Well guys, I'm done with acrylics inside as well. I had a couple of nights in the studio a while back where I was painting with acrylics and I came out and I just felt lightheaded, like a little bit drunk, and all I've been using was acrylics and the primers for the acrylics and things like that, and I'm like, I'm fine. I can go to sleep and I'll sleep it off, but this isn't sustainable for 40 years. I want to be able to produce artwork that is not only a beautiful process, a beautiful result, but also you know that it was a fulfilling a process that the artist didn't sacrifice himself to, that the artist was made more from. And when artists make works with oils and acrylics in dark studios without proper ventilation, they're sacrificing part of themselves. They're destroying themselves to produce something beautiful. And for me, though I do love great sacrifice to make something beautiful, not when it makes that person less. Sacrifice doesn't have to make you less. You can sacrifice and come out of it as more. Think of sacrifices you make for your loved ones or children. These sort of things, when you say, I'm going to make a sacrifice to improve the lives of my children or to improve the lives of people I love, and whatever small thing you're doing, could even be emptying the dishwasher. In that sense, I don't believe you're lesser because of that, you're more. But if you paint a picture and you come out of it with less of an ability to be yourself because you've sniffed too much fumes while you're making it, that's a sacrifice that you have not come out from as more. Don't do that to yourself. Right. Maroon. I want maroon. Thanks, Chad. Good to have the agreement there. Was wondering what caused the change to painting outside. Well, I actually started, one of the very first reels I'd made was painting outside. But now I've angled into it so much more and said, no, not only do I paint outside some of the time, I now paint outside all of the time. And when the weather started packing up, I thought now's the time to accelerate my method towards finding something that's useful inside. Now, that is a great question. It is a great question. Are there non-toxic paints? There are. Oop, look at that. Got my knee dirty. There are non-toxic paints. And if you go into a painting store, they'll tell you, if you don't use terps, oil paints are safe. And if you crack a window, acrylic paints are safe. I would suggest you put that paint close to your nose and sniff. And sniff it for 10 minutes. In fact, don't ever do that. Because although they may be labelled non-toxic, there's stuff in there that will really do you in. If you sniff acrylic paint right up close to it for a long period of time, or oil paints, they're really, really bad for you. Really bad. And the giveaway is on the back of the oil paints. They always say, dispose of carefully at a so-and-so place, don't put in the regular trash, this and that, because they're really bad for the place. So don't take what people say, that just because you're not using terps, oil paints are safe. There's just linseed oil and pigment. There's not. Paint's made up of three things: solvent, binder, and pigment. Now, in acrylic paint, the binder is typically a glue, like a PVA style thing. It's not exactly what it is, but it's similar. Then you've got your pigment, which is the same through all paints. It's a powder. And then you've got your solvent. Now, with watercolor, it's water. With acrylic paint, it's water. That's why they call them water soluble. Soluble, solvent. Same thing. And hello, Steve. How are we doing? I did remember my sunscreen. LJ, sorry, I was in the middle of a lecture. Coming back to that, sorry. Soluble, solvent. Oil paints have, yes, they have oil, linseed oil usually, and they have the pigment, the powdered pigment, but it's not just that. There are other volatile compounds in there, VOCs, volatile organic compounds, which come off it in an off-gassing process. Now, you never hear of off-gassing when you're talking about pigment or linseed oil, do you? You're not worried about your linseed oil bottle in the pantry saying, oh, my linseed oil's off-gassing all the time. You don't. That's oil paint because of other additives that are in the paint. Even the best quality ones, even the vegan ones, even the no heavy metals ones, they're not good for your health to be used in confined spaces. And so a lot of the time, that stuff, like I have that oil painting of Ernest Hemingway, it's still downstairs in a studio space down there, airing out, off-gassing. And it's going to be off-gassing for sometimes up to 6 months, just sitting there, letting off fumes, these oil paintings. So honestly, I mean, acrylic's great because it dries within a couple of days. It stops off-gassing really, really fast. But yeah, if oil paint with oil and linseed was all it was, then oil paint wouldn't really be oil paint, it would be gouache, because gouache is guar gum and pigment, which then you then combine linseed with. And be like, no, oil paint's completely different from gouache. Oh, really? Interesting. Point I'm coming to there though, guys, if you want a quick and hard and fast rule for paint to know what's got chemicals in it, what's dangerous for, sorry, not chemicals, what's dangerous for your health and what's good for you in terms of paint, the more shiny and colourful it is, the more it looks like, think about frogs in the Amazon, the more beautiful and shiny the frog looks, the more poisonous it is. Now I know we love the beautiful shiny things and definitely use them, but don't do it indoors. If there's 4 walls, there's not enough ventilation. Don't tell me about a ventilating unit. Don't tell me about doors and windows. You need to be outdoors because that stuff cannot be getting into you. That's what I reckon. Now, you will find videos on YouTube that say things like, nah, crack a window, you'll be fine. Nah, that's safe. It says non-toxic on the bottle. You're good. Trust me, like I say, paint in the studio with it. You'll quickly find out that you don't come out feeling the same as you went in. And that's why it was very funny, actually. I struggled to hear about egg tempura. Tempura, sorry. And the reason I had a hard time hearing about it is because any paint salesman isn't going to tell you about something Teagle's making money on, Teagle chicken. So, pretty funny little thing there. You know loads about paint. Anna, thank you very much. You should start your own product line called Baz Paints. That's a fun thing. I did start my own product line, and you're welcome to buy it. Where you get it from is your local supermarket. Go in there, grab the free range eggs, the free range fresh eggs, and I'm going to show you over the next few months as I perfect this method exactly how to use the cheapest, most natural art supplies to make amazing, glistening, funky artwork. Because I'm done with the amount of chemicals we bring into these studios. I'm done with the terps, I'm done with the volatile organic compounds, and I'm done with artists hurting themselves to make art. I want art to be beautiful, and I'm tired of looking at pictures on the wall and seeing, like, you know how artists go close to a picture and study them up close and look at each individual line and moment in it, and then as if they're trying to figure out the method behind it? One thing that breaks my heart is knowing that inside that work is toxic, volatile chemicals that made it beautiful. It's like a frog in the Amazon. Again, I can see it, it looks beautiful, but it's toxic. I want a frog that I can pick up and have in my hand and hear it go ribbit. As appropriate as that example can be. Sorry, getting distracted, should be painting, but the point is, guys, if you are a painter and you're looking to copy, or you're excited by what I'm talking about here, and you do feel like the paints you're using haven't been good for your health, especially if you're not a professional painter with a big studio, sometimes it can be hard to actually figure out where you can paint. You like to paint indoors, maybe you're more introverted, but that makes it hard to ventilate. So give me 2 months. I've got a technique that I'm working on. It's most of the way there, but it's not complete yet. And I don't want to tell you guys exactly how to do something until I've done all the trials and tribulations, and I can say to you guys, I've got this pretty well figured out. Run with your own styles now. And honestly, I think egg tempera is coming in fast for a renaissance, because any individual painting, one painting at a time, is totally okay. Any painting with oil, any painting with acrylic, it's okay. But what happens when you do 50 paintings, 100 paintings, 10,000 paintings? What happens to you? I ask this question because eventually the tax of how much you've lost every time you made a little painting, just a little bit at a time, tax needs paying. So, plus, if you're looking to get into art, what's going to be really fun about this is hopefully I can make it really cheap for you. Safe, cheap. And the cool thing is you can trust me. First off, because I'm a trustworthy dude, and second off, because it won't be a line of paint with me saying, hey, buy my paint. It'll be a go here and buy this. Eggs, you're golden. I found it pretty funny going to the supermarket and buying 70 or so eggs, thinking, right, time to experiment. I've had a lot of protein shakes, guys. I've had a lot of protein shakes. Because I've been keeping the egg whites, see. And so I thought, if I'm going to do this, I don't want to be wasting anything. I'm not going to just be throwing away egg whites. I want to make sure that actually these eggs are either being used or consumed. And so in their entirety. So the only part I'm currently throwing away is the shells. Now I can't see that changing, but, well, when I say throwing away, composting. So thanks, Victoria, I appreciate you. And Jules, just coming down here, off topic from the egg, fair enough, we spent way too long there, but I still want to see you paint Hades, or do a Greek mythology series. Lucy, you missed one recently, which was Greek mythology. We did Hercules, and the reason I wanted to do Hercules was I wanted to paint something to say, this is a man, and men feel, and it's cool to feel. So I want to paint Hercules in a huge amount of colour to sort of show a sensitive side of him and really exacerbate that. Sounds cheesy, but honestly. I like telling that message. I think too many guys are so barred up thinking that actually the manly version of themselves is the version that doesn't share their feelings or wants and desires or expose themselves. That's weak. It's to be strong. To be strong is to both expose, to be able to actually, yeah, physically, sure, we connect that with being a manly person, but the ability to understand yourself, the actual thing that makes you who you are, why you do, and yeah, why you do, and who you are, to actually understand that deeply and intimately, to be able to talk about it and vocalize it, that's manly. And a lot of men struggle to do that. So anyway, and yeah, I posted that with a bit of a intimate blurb about that. Like, I never felt exactly at home at places like on football fields and things like that. I played sport, don't get me wrong, but honestly, my manly pursuit is the idea that actually, you know what? I want to bring joy to people. I want to make people happy. I want to bring a bit more vitality into the world, and I want to do something like this, creative, where I can actually express myself and my emotions. And it's not that that task innately is manly, but, or, something to be proud of. It's that actually you have the clarity or the ability to describe who you are. I think that's great. I think we're getting beyond the word manly altogether. I think there's more to Hercules than that. We give them that trait of saying, hey, Hercules is manly, but actually, forget that word altogether. I think it's about being an adult. I think that's a healthier word to use. Being an adult. Hercules, if he was just covered in muscle, fighting hydras, battling Hades and running off, being the man, he wouldn't be an adult. He would be a jumped up child. If he understands his emotions and actually develops his character, now we're talking about an adult. It was only actually in the Disney movie where Hercules went down to save Meg, punched Hades in the face, and didn't really care about fighting or anything like that. Just wanted to actually grab Meg and save her at any cost. That was the only stage where Hercules had gone from being a boy, a jumped up child, to a man. And that was when he was, first off, doing something greater than themselves. But I'm using the word wrong there, man. You want to say, became an adult. I don't think there's enough of us these days striving to become adults, striving to actually stand for something bigger than ourselves, to love and to be honest. A lot of times to check myself as well. How can I be more honest, more exposed, more vulnerable, love more? I think we confuse it actually, because we actually combine vulnerability with weakness. Vulnerability is not weakness. Vulnerability is an exposed weakness, but it's not weakness. If you're actually able to be vulnerable, that's a sign of strength. Because it would take immense strength. It would take immense strength to show off a weakness. Sorry if I missed some comments there too, guys. Lovely Joe, how we doing? You'll never forgive yourself? You're totally all good. You're totally all good. Yeah, this is true. This is true. Well said, Lucy. Well said. Now, I think I am using those terms wrong too. I keep using the term manly. What I mean is adultly. Being a man, I mean being an adult. That's the thing. How are you going to be an adult? And I'm not saying, a lot of the time when you say be an adult, it sort of flies in the face of unlocking your inner child. That's not what we're doing here. An adult actually has a great grasp on their inner child, has the correct outlets for it, has the ability to pursue what satiates that inner child. They're not, they're less lost. Or they might be completely lost, but know where they're trying to go. That's okay too. Now I'm just yammering. Anyway, on to greens. On to greens. Adultly, yeah. Adulting, adultly. I want that should be the new term. When you're, I don't know, would it happen in a bar? I don't know where it would happen. some girls or guys are out there and you see someone doing something really, you know, really real, authentic, them being themselves, and you'd be like, that's adultly. I like it. What do you like about John? Oh, John's a really adultly kind of guy. If I hadn't just made up that term, I don't know what I would think the person who said that meant. What do you mean by adultly? You don't like being adultly? I love being adultly. Adultly doesn't mean dealing with taxes, paying invoices, paying rent, having a mortgage. Adultly means I know who I am, I know what I want to be, I know what makes me happy, and I'm taking active steps to pursue it. Tell me someone who's a real adult who doesn't fill that category. That is my definition of an adult. And a lot of people like collect figurines, collect video games, collect Marmite jars, don't have an endless pile of money, but have a love of their life, raise a family, blah, 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 blah. All of these fit into the realms of adult, like just a career that you focus your life on, or a vision to end world hunger or to try and battle starvation, blah, blah, blah. All these people are adults. Why? Because they know who they are, because they have a why, they're not afraid to vocalize it and pursue it. That's adultly. Tax-free adultly. Unfortunately, I think taxes are always going to be a part of it, Lucy. I think you're just going to have to get used to that part. But it's okay. It's okay. Because, yeah, I wouldn't worry about that part. Not in terms of not doing it. You got to understand your taxes, but don't get hung up on taxes. There's more to worry about than that. I donate more to charity than I have to give in tax. So, with numbers, I'm not too worried about the whole how much the government wants. How much do you need? Take it. Cool, cool, cool. What would you say is your why, Seb? Lucy. I reckon, not that dark, but I reckon you could borderline answer that. But my why is, it's cheesy, but I want to see the world. No, don't pick that. I want to see the world with more vitality and happiness. I always knew, Lucy, that I wanted to make people happy. I always knew that was the case. But I never knew the best way to do it. And so I sort of bumped my way through life, knowing that one day I'd do something or be someone in a meaningful way that would appease the inner child in me. A child who did want to make the world a better place. Now, I didn't realize that was painting straight away. It was actually other people who saw the paintings, and then I could see the fulfillment and the happiness it brought people, and I thought, this is where I can make a difference. This is where I can actually take a stand and help people. No, it's not solving world hunger. No, it's not well, maybe an element of it's creating peace, but the best way I can make a positive difference on the face of this planet is to create art that makes people's lives better, that makes people happier, that brings more vitality into both the people who join in and the people who own its lives. That. And you know what? If I suddenly found a better way to do it, I'd pursue that. But currently, art for me is the best way I've found to do it. There's a duck. There is a duck. There's two. Yeah. And they actually, that's the reason I've only brought one painting with me today, because if you bring two paintings, well, the other one's lying down and you're working on one, they literally come along and pick the painting. And so you end up around the edges with a whole bunch of little duck marks from the beaks, which is pretty funny, but it's part of the creative process. But it's not always what we're after. We don't want the New Orleans Mardi Gras shot to have duck marks all around the outside. You're talking to the client, you'd be like, so I was wondering about these little scratches up the right-hand side of the painting. I'd be like, oh, that's a duck. And thanks, Lucy. Paint their feet and let them paint. I mean, we could do. Honestly, if we had egg tempura, we could probably play like that, but I wouldn't want to put acrylic on the bottom of a duck's feet. I'm not sure how they'd get on if they got on their feathers. I think it would stop the ability for it to do the water off a duck's back thing. You might lose some powers there. God, that's good water. I'm so glad I bought 3 water bottles too. Absolutely essential, team. Matthew, your little artist here, is the exact height of 5 foot 9 inches. And I love it. Just tall enough to see just enough detail in a concert, and just short enough to have fun in a airplane seat and not feel too squished. Arguably, the perfect size. But if you're shorter than that, you're going to have more fun on an airplane and less fun at a concert. And if you're taller than that, you'll have a great time at a concert and less fun on an airplane. There's perks to this sort of stuff. I don't quite understand the fascination with asking about height. Who cares? Like, out of all the things that could be relevant about someone, we've sort of seized on height. And I don't really get it. Like, I think I want to know someone's, I don't know, is it too intense? What do you value? Who are you and what do you value? I mean, I wouldn't find that too much of a disarming question, but if it did disarm someone, you'd have to wonder, in fact, that, you'd have to wonder that actually they may have not considered that question or feel uncomfortable sharing that, which is totally okay. But for me, I value my family, I value my close friends, I value myself, and that I actually love to feel and be, and not just be a cog in the machine, but be actually aware of the world around me and what's happening. I value my nutrition. I value trying to make decisions with what I eat to actually look after other species on the planet. I'm not completely vegetarian. I'm not completely vegan. But I do cut certain things out and try not to eat certain things. Because a part of me does love, for example, pigs. I don't eat pigs. I grew up on a farm and I've got a soft spot for pigs. They've got so much emotional intelligence, more than you'd expect. So, got a deep love for those. So don't have pork. Eat a lot of chicken. Try and eat healthy. Basically what I'm saying here is it's okay to not know what you value. But it's important that if you don't know, you're actively trying to figure it out. You know that you don't know, so you're pursuing the answer. I think that's healthy. Woohoo! New stand, a little bit shaky. So I missed that here. Chad hates to fly. Jeepers, we got some people over 6 foot in here. 5'4". You're all good, Victoria. Next time you get into your plane seat and actually enjoy watching the movie, understand that that is a huge perk, and I would personally trade any jar of pickles on the top shelf for a comfortable 14-hour flight. So if we're doing trades, you've taken the most valuable option. A couple of breezes going around. There was supposed to be no wind today. If it persists, we might need to move in closer to the trees to make sure it's looked after. But we'll see what comes. Just put my foot on it for now as these gusts come through. So there's not a random one in the next few minutes which hits it and blows the painting to oblivion. It'll be regretful. There we go, all the way up here. Lots of layers, colours, mischief in this crowd. Mischief in the crowd. Dun 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 dun. La da dee da do. Of course, I should have expected a bit of wind to be around today, just because it's the day after a whole bunch of storms and rain and things like that. Should have expected it. Look at that breeze whistling through here. Okay, we're going to swap to a new plate because that one has been exhausted. You know it's exhausted when you're outside, when it starts having chunks break off in it. So the paint's gone crisp around the edges and now you're mixing into it and it's breaking off bit by bit. That's to be avoided. You're 6'3" in your heels. Good for you, Lucy. Good for you. Get out there to the events, festivals, or even just in the crowd of people and someone's like, what's happening over there? You glance up and say, it's a game of cricket. Just know that that's novel. Good for you. And I miss out on that experience. So if we were hanging out, I'd be like, Lucy, what's happening over there? I can't see. And then if we went flying, and sorry about that noise. If we went flying, and Lucy arrives at the next location, jet lagged and tired, and I'm happy and enjoying my brunch, I'll know that this is me getting back to my own over the top of someone who, has a different set of perks. Pretty fun. Cindy. All right. I dig that. I think the important thing here, everyone, is there is no gold standard. Why would you want to be exactly something? Like, I'm not sure where that came from. This single-minded, what's the best? Oh, everyone wants to be tall. I mean, I tell you what, in 5 years, 10 years, it's going to swap the other way, and everyone's going to be into short people. Like, I don't know. There's just this weird pendulum that seems to spin around and favour certain things in certain generations or certain years, and I think away from all of it, just loving yourself. It sounds so cheesy, but it's so true. Just actually knowing that you're good enough and that who you are is okay, whether it be with height, weight, whatever it be, as long as you look at yourself in the mirror and say, actually, I'm working on a few things. This. I don't care how long the list is. I'm working on some things, but I love what I see. Like, I've never seen a dog see themselves in the mirror with its tail wagging and it's panting and looking around, and then it sees itself in the mirror and goes, by God, that's disgusting. No matter what the dog sees, the dog looks in the mirror and goes, it's going to be a good day today. All right, where's that ball? Where's my food? Like, it's a different mentality, and I've said it before, we could learn a lot by studying the mentality of a canine, because the ability for a dog to be happy. You see dogs in little miniature wheelchairs. You see dogs trying to get the ball thrown. You see dogs in all sorts of different states. Dogs do what they can to make themselves happy. And yet we'll let small things make us miserable or affect our ability to be happy without realising that actually the only person who needs to give us permission to be happy is ourselves. We hear that, we ignore it. So we think, no, it's more complicated than that. It's, I need this or I need that. dog, without the job, without the career, without the love, without all the things that you think make you who you are, how come the dog's able to be happy? Just because you came home. You know? It's not a matter of saying you should be grateful for what you have. It's a matter of actually waking up and thinking, you know what? I'm going to do my darndest today. And things are going to get in the way of that and try and affect that. But you know what? With no resentment and no spite, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try and have a good day. And typically I find the easiest, best way to do that is by resigning yourself to say, I'm going to make 5 other people's day better. I put the number of 5 instead of 1. And it's holding your door open. It's making a meal for someone you care about. It's getting a coffee to a friend. Whatever way it is. I feel a little breeze coming through my foot on this. Whatever way it is, you'll find that through those 5 little tasks, you might make yourself happier by looking after others. I've never found a whole lot of happiness in a day by deciding that I'm going to pursue happiness just for me. I don't think a dog ever thinks, when you're throwing the ball for it, that it's just doing this for you. I think, just like a dog throwing the ball, well, you making someone else happy, I think there's a give and take there. I think you get a certain level of satisfaction from knowing that you improve someone else's lives, and even if you can't be happy, you're happier knowing that it wasn't just for waste. And the dog who's chasing the ball, he's getting as much pleasure sometimes as that owner. I mean, the owner is throwing the ball, the dog's fetching it, and yet both parties might think in a small way they're doing it for the other person, and it might be where the satisfaction and fetch comes from. 2 parties mutually believing that what they're doing is for the sake of the other person. It might be the case. Imagine the dog just loved you so much that actually the dog only wanted to play fetch because it thinks that you like it. Imagine. Coming on in. Thanks, Anna. I appreciate that. Sky so blue. Yeah, not a cloud in sight, but a little bit of wind. So we're not going to get rain, but with this new easel, I've got 2 easels now, one in the studio and one that I'm taking around with me. I'm going to swap them around. This will be the studio easel, and the other one will keep coming with us. The other one's a bit more sturdy. This one's heavier, but it's meaning that it's catching more wind. It becomes more likely to blow over. My microphone keeps crackling. Let me have a little look-see here. There we go. Let's go like that. How's that? Is that an improvement? He needs a mic with a fluffy thing on it, do I? All right. I think I might have a fluffy thing. Let me see. Here we go. Why do you need the fluffy thing? I've got a little fluffy thing. I've just never used the fluffy thing. You think it's the wind? All right. Let's put the fluffy thing on it and find out. Okay. We now have the fluffy thing. It's going to look like a little pom-pom on my front, which I think is super cute. Here's my stylish pom-pom, my pink sunglasses. And tell me, how is the sound? Did we fix it? What I'll do is I'll just grab this. I'll turn that receiver again. There we go. Perfect. And let me come in here. Larry. You're an absolute champion, Larry. I appreciate that. I'll hold this down. Sounds good. Better. It's better, I think. Michael, you're an absolute legend. That's a little fluffy thing. I don't really understand what it was for, but now that I've got my little pom-pom on, I don't know, I feel kind of cute. Anyway, I'm glad it's sounding better. Right, reds. Reds. Probably actually now. We yarned for too long with that plate. So we'll just pull off a little bit of this. In early layers, we want to keep it a little bit flat, not too thick. There's a temptation to just keep throwing around thick paint. We want expressive paint, but not thick paint if it's early in the piece. It's crackling again. Pom-pom saves the day. So wait, the pom-pom didn't save the day? Let me see if making sure this is all plugged in is going to help out a little bit. It is all plugged in. It should all be tickety-boo. Oh, maybe it was... And bottles and quotes. There's some fun things. Nothing too extreme. Quotes. There's some fun things. Nothing too extreme. Bad Wi-Fi connection. Lost connection should be coming back. Is it going to be nice? Still playing freeze? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah. It's not good. Buffering again. Your Wi-Fi must be on its last straw. That's wild because it's not good. Buffering again. Your Wi-Fi must be on its last straw. That's wild because I would have thought we had excellent connection, but turns out no. Turns out no. I'll tell you what. Let me chase down someone with some slightly better reception and I will see if we can't improve it. But for some reason, we can't improve it. But for some reason, see, that's wild. We've got, allegedly, we've got, full reception. So I'm not quite sure why it's not giving me. Dun, 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 dun. It's buffering and no sound, okay. Do. It's buffering and no sound, okay. Do. Dun, 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 dun. It's buffering and no sound, okay. Do. Dun, 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 dun.